Supervisor, what's happening, man? How are you doing?
Hey.
That's huge.
Rhonda, is there additions to the agenda today?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware of any additions to the agenda.
No. County Council, would you read the items to be discussed in the closed session?
Yes, Chairman. There are 3 items for today's closed session. The first is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The county negotiators are Adrian Califf and Ken Caves. The employee organizations are all units. There are 2 existing litigation matters pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1. The name of one case is ACLU of Northern California versus the County of Madera. And the second name is an administrative case, EEOC charge, John Baker versus Madera County District Attorney.
Very good. Any public comment on the items just discussed? If not, we'll go into closed session.
Huh? No. What's that?
Did you see my new car?
No. You got a new car? Good for you. New house, new car. Wow. Life is good.
Was there anything report out of closed session?
Chairman, there are no reportable actions from closed session.
Yeah. I went through that for years with vehicles. Take the full write-off. Oh, yeah. Section 159. Yeah.
Item 3, invocation by Pastor Roger Leach, present. Pledge of Allegiance by Supervisor Fortress.
Thank you. Our Heavenly Father, today that we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you that not only are you the reason for the season, but you're the reason for all of our life, eternal life. Lord, I pray your blessing over this meeting today as we gather together and do business for this County of Madera. Lord, I pray for the staff. I pray for the supervisors and all of the employees of Madera. Lord, I pray that you continue to watch over them, give them safety, give them strength and peace at this time of the year. Lord, we celebrate that. Lord, we pray for the prosperity of our county. We pray that you continue to bring rain and to where that we have the abundance that you provide. Lord, I pray a continual favor over this county. I pray your blessings, and we pray that in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Would everybody join me as we salute our flag? Please salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We open and close in memory of Supervisor Fortress.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize a wonderful lady who entered the Lord's gates last week. Her name is Geneva Leach, and I say is, not was, because, you know, when we leave and as a Christian, you don't cease to exist. You continue to exist, so I'll continue to call her is. But she was 92 years old and moved to Madera in 1940. In 1946, she met a guy in church, and his name was Gerald Leach. And from that union that lasted 60 years until Gerald passed away in 06, left a great legacy in our community. And the Leach family lived out in the Dixieland area, and they were Northerners. My family was just south of the Fresno River, so we were more Southerners in the Howard District. But great family, extended family, and the Valley West Christian Church exists now because of her and Gerald, and also I would say that Sherman Thomas Charter School, and she's the mother of three, including Pastor Roger Leach, and today is her service at 11 o'clock. So it's I just wanted to recognize her and the great, wonderful lady she is, and the great legacy she left. Thank you.
Supervisor Dave Rogers.
Yeah, I want to mention two people that passed away in the city of Chowchilla. Sally Judd, the mother of Craig Judd, Steve Judd. And then also Bob Gudgel, who operated the ag service there for many years at the airport. And then today I also want to mention that Saturday, my 33-year-old nephew passed away, and he leaves an 8-year-old boy behind. He was a single parent, and probably one of the more difficult moments that I've ever dealt with in our family. We haven't had that kind of an issue with a young person passing away, but I appreciate all the calls and the emails and the letters and what have you. And thank you for your prayers. It's been a tough moment for our family, but we know that he had suffered for a while, and he's better off. He's in a better place now than he would be. So thank you again.
Very sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Item 4.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to comment on any item within the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. Items presented under public comment may not be discussed or acted upon by the board at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public is invited to comment at the time the item is called for consideration by the board. Any person addressing the board under public comment will be limited to a 3-minute presentation to ensure that all interested parties have an opportunity to speak. Any handouts to the board must be submitted to the chief clerk of the board for distribution to the supervisors. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium. Also, all members addressing the board may state their name and county of residence for the record.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Eric Fleming, County Administrator. Back in 2016, this big tattooed guy came to work here as our fire chief. His name's David Allen. I just found out Friday he's leaving us. His last day is actually going to be Wednesday. So I just wanted to publicly thank him for the 2 years or so that he did here. He came to us with a lot of experience and really helped us set some good plans in motion to replace equipment and improve staffing. So I just wanted to thank David and appreciate your time here. And good luck to you. Enjoy your retirement.
I have to. Dave Allen, Fire Chief for Madera County, day-to-day operations. Thank you, Eric. Thank the board. It's been a great 2.5 years up here. I was asked to come up and help with the fire department, help mentor some of the battalion chiefs that are here to hopefully step into my position, which will end up happening. Nobody else has put in for it yet, so hopefully you'll end up with Matt Watson, who's been a part of everything we've done up until this point with the fire department, staffing, equipment, stations, the whole 9 yards. I know this will disappoint you, but I'll be around for the next 10 to 12 months helping them both out off and on. So you're not quite rid of me yet. And thank you for everything you guys have done. And
thank you. Hey, thank you. I appreciate this guy for his candor. I always appreciate the fact that he just tells it like it is and spits it out, and that's awesome. Thank you, Dave.
We're down one more redhead, Dave. It's killing me.
Okay, the details are in. Tracy Kennedy, Madera County Treasurer Tax Collector. This is the breakdown of the collections from the 10th. You're welcome. And what we try to do is just capture the in-office traffic that we had, which you can see was a lot, really. And what that represents is everybody that comes in and pays at the counter or drops their payment off right there in person. A lot of people like to drop it off in person. The credit cards, which are great because once you pay with a credit card, it posts automatically, which is really nice for staff, and we don't have to post those. E-checks are the same. You enter your e-check information, it posts automatically, and you can get a receipt right then and there, which is really nice. People can see the receipt. The online bank checks is really an emerging kind of a method of payment. We're trying to discourage that. What this is bank checks. If you go through your bank and you say, well, I want to pay my taxes and I want the check dated December 10th, they will send it maybe December 10th or maybe December 15th. And the odd thing is there is no postmark. On bank checks, there is no postmark. So people are taking a real risk if they are hoping at the last minute for those checks to be accepted as timely.
Yeah, then it becomes between them and the bank, right?
Yeah.
We have rules.
We have to rely upon a postmark, and for some reason, these envelopes do not have a postmark. So what we're doing is contacting them and sending them a little flyer and say, now early, in the early November, early December, you're good. But when it comes down to 10, 11, 12 with no postmark, we have nothing to rely on that verifies that it was here timely. So, and then CoreTac impound, that is, if you make your payment in your mortgage, and that's an electronic file that all uploads, and so that's a big part of our payments. And then, of course, the blue envelopes everybody loves. And we have to open and sort those, and we had a lot of good help this year. We kind of we borrowed 2 people from the assessor's office for a couple of days, which we were really thankful for. Everybody was sorting and doing mail, and then we have a bit of an assembly line, opening the mail, running the calculator tapes, posting it, and then sending it to the bank. So anyway, and a lot of phone calls, and we still answer our phone. Now, we only have 2 incoming lines, so we can only answer 2 lines. So, which is good. We don't want any more. But anyway, so that's that. We are able to capture how many phone calls that are incoming and how many hours that it equates to. So, anyway, just a detail.
Tracy, on that column, the refund, would you explain that?
Excuse me?
The refund column?
Refunds?
Refunds at the bottom.
Bottom right.
Oh, okay. Those, if you pay your taxes in through your mortgage company and they send it in, and maybe there was an escrow, and maybe your taxes were paid already, or there was some other instance of prepayment, then we will send that amount back to the mortgage company. So, and that goes directly back to the people that paid it. So through the impound account.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Kimberly Bell, and I reside in the city of Madera, Madera County. And I'm here today because I got a little upset when I went to visit my local medicinal marijuana dispensary, and there was a notice posted saying that they were closing December 21st, as per the Board of Supervisors. I didn't even know that it was on the agenda last week. I had spoken with Anthony, Mr. Poitras' assistant, and he told me that public notices are only required to be like 72 hours in advance. Well, the problem with Madera is our paper only prints twice a week, so we don't get the notice until Wednesday, the day after the Board of Supervisors meeting. So people who object to this had no opportunity to speak, and I would just like the board to keep an open mind and perhaps revisit this issue after the first of the year, because the people who rely on that dispensary depend on safe access for their medications. And I would just like you to keep an open mind and give the people who are opposed to you closing the dispensaries in Madera County a chance to speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name is Jacob Gore. I'm a U.S. Army veteran residing in Madera County, and I'm also here to speak on the medicinal closing. So I'm on 160 milligrams a day of morphine prescribed by the VA, and to the point that my liver is shutting down. The VA will not take me off the morphine, but they will cut my benefits if I do not continue to take it. I have found, with my doctor's approval, medicinal marijuana does help. I'm able to hold my son. I'm able to not be in a wheelchair, which I was in from May 2014 to June of this year without the use of medical cannabis. Now, with the use of medical cannabis, I'm able to be out walking in front of you today, not in a wheelchair, and it does help with the veteran suicide rates. If I was not able to use medical cannabis, I would not be standing here in front of you today because of that. Because of the depression and all of the pharmaceutical drugs that have, every single pharmaceutical drug for depression, PTSD, has a side effect of suicide and suicidal thoughts. Medicinal marijuana does not. And it does help. So again, please reconsider this and put it on the agenda for after January so it can be revisited. Veteran suicides in California alone is 662 veterans a year. All of them are being prescribed way over pharmaceutical limits from the VA. And we have many of them here that can attest to the fact that medicinal marijuana does help in lieu of those pharmaceuticals. So please consider that. Thank you.
How you doing today? My name's Daryl Saliveri. I'm U.S. Army veteran, two-time combat veteran, once in Iraq, once in Afghanistan. And I got out of the Army in 2012 and moved back here to the Central Valley. When I got out, I was on a lot of pharmaceuticals, a lot of opiates, a lot of psychotropic drugs that changed my mood, changed how my brain worked pretty much, and it got me in a lot of trouble. I was in and out of the hospital because of my PTSD, because of how it didn't let me react the way I needed to react to daily emotions. I didn't have any. And then after a while, I would explode. So I would be in and out of trouble with the VA, with law enforcement, until I found medical cannabis. And once I found that, I wasn't in the VA hospital anymore. I was able to hold down a full-time job that I wasn't able to before. I was able to go to college, graduate college, and become a chef. After I graduated college, I started working at a catering place. I became the assistant kitchen manager within 3 months, all with the help of cannabis. If I didn't have cannabis, I would have been one of those few hundred veterans that commit suicide every year. Now, with the help of cannabis, getting my thoughts in control, getting myself put back together after getting out of the service, I was able to start a veterans organization here in the Madera, Fresno, Yosemite, Central Valley area to help our local veterans be able to get that safe access that they need to medical cannabis, to help them with their depression, to help them with their anxiety, to help them with pain, sleep, PTSD, nightmares, everything. Like it's helped me. The organization's called 22's Militia because we're the militia that's fighting back to end the stereotypical 22 veteran suicides a day. That's the average, but that's not the true number. That's only 21 states that were reporting veteran suicides. If all 50 states reported veteran suicides, I guarantee there would be almost more than 100 a day if all 50 states did. But a lot of the states with the medical cannabis, they're starting to see a trend where veteran suicides and just suicides in general due to opiate addiction and everything is starting to reduce. So we just ask you that if you could at least change your mind, bring it back up in the next meeting and try and get that safe access for veterans and for sick people, cancer patients. I have family who were cancer patients that cannabis has saved their life. They should have died years ago, but they're still with us today fighting. So I just ask you guys, please reconsider, and hopefully we can get safe access for medical patients here in Madera. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board of Supervisors, my name is Brennan Alfheim. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. I was a combat medic. I served in Afghanistan for 2 deployments, 28 months. Saw a lot of stuff over there. I saw a lot of my brothers and sisters struggle. That's one thing that I've noticed after getting out of the Army, is back here, we're continually struggling. Whether it's family life, going to school, our body aches, our pains. Some of us don't have limbs. There's a lot of really tragic stuff going on within the veteran community right now. I'm a member of 22's Militia as well. I've seen it. I was a member of a fraternity at Fresno State that is a veterans fraternity. It's a national one. I've met so many veterans who have decided to go and use cannabis as a safe alternative to the sometimes 15 to 20 pills that they have to take during the day in order to keep all their levels down. Without being too redundant here, I know that you guys have voted on it last month and banned cannabis in Madera. But as a vet and as a cannabis user and as, a friend to many other veterans that use cannabis to get by on the daily, I again ask you guys to maybe rethink and revisit this later. By criminalizing it, by banning it in your county, there are patients that do require this for their daily lives. And they go around and they're going to have to find another, whether that's going to Fresno because Fresno just reconsidered their medical cannabis ban, or going to Tulare or one of these other cities that has allowed it. they're going to be forced to go to the streets. And I think that is going to create an adverse effect within Madera County. You don't want crime increasing. And having these, real patients having to go out to get their cannabis from someone that's not a licensed safe dispensary, they're putting money in the pockets of, criminals in a sense. I just hope that you guys would listen to these voices that were put up today, and hopefully we could have a better conversation about this in the future. Thank you, guys.
Just to clarify for you, we didn't ban it.
Okay.
We banned commercial sales of it. Okay.
Right. My only response to that is I can't cultivate. I try to grow my own. Didn't work. I can't even keep a bonsai tree alive.
Right.
And when it comes to creating real medicine that works for me, I have to go to a cultivator that knows how to do it. And
I just wanted to clarify for you.
Roger that. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Members of the council, thank you. My name is Daniel Phillips. I'm a veteran from Vietnam and Desert Storm. I got disabled in Desert Storm, 1991. I've been having to use medical marijuana since I got out of the Army the second time. I'm service-connected from getting hurt over there. In fact, I'm the first one home from Fresno, disabled from Desert Storm 26 years ago. If it hadn't been for the medical marijuana that's kept me sane and able to do things, I wouldn't be able to function. I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I've got 2 broken hips, a broken back, a destroyed shoulder, and a messed up right knee. And then I have my PTSD and other little symptoms, and it keeps my sanity. I'm suffering from early stages of Parkinson's, and it still helps me out. I have to take some medications because of the antibiotics from the VA gives me. But I got to say that from all the dispensaries over the years I've been to, A1 is the only dispensary that's ever given a care about us veterans. It actually lets us know that we mean something to them and they mean something to us. Now, if it weren't for the legality of the medical cannabis coming in, I'd have to be out on the streets, and I don't trust the streets. I don't know what people are doing. But for safe access, I need to find some place that can accept me and my disabilities. And so if they ban A1, I'm forced to find another dispensary to go to, and that's rather difficult when they're being outlawed in Fresno and so on. So I just want to have you know that I'm 65 years of age. I've served twice for this country, and I'm fighting for the continuation of the A1 dispensary so that we veterans can be helped. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board. My name is Joshua Carnahan. I'm an Army combat veteran, Iraq, Afghanistan, all that stuff. What I would personally like to say about the dispensary is that I'm with another veterans nonprofit organization, and when we do have our 22 militia meetings over there, it's a network. And there's so many nonprofit veterans organizations, but the veterans, it's kind of hard for us to network, and it's just a toolbox. It's part of our toolbox to help these veterans when they are suicidal, to help them get off that VA candy. Like, I was there, went through the whole suicide thing, and I was taking more pills on a daily basis than both of my grandparents. And I was like, this is no way. Through that, it's just a tool that we put in our toolbox to help certain individuals. It's not for everybody, but we also use that as our meeting place and networking with all these other nonprofit organizations that help. And once we get the word spread out there and we all start working together and supporting each other, then it helps out the veterans overall, especially the suicidal veterans. So I would like to just bring that up. That's one of the things that we do there is we network and we help each other. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Terry Titus. I'm from Northwest Fresno, and I go to A1, and I would like you to reconsider keeping them open because they help out the veterans. They do a good job for us. I went in there one time, forgot my money. They gave me my medical cannabis, so I would have my medicine to go back the next time to pay them. You don't find places like that, and I'm very lucky to find that. And, I've been to dispensaries around the state, and the city of San Jose, they have their own tax, whether you know it or not. They have their own tax on it. It's 10%, and that's right on the receipt, San Jose tax. So they collect money. They don't wait for the state to give them their money back. They collect the money right then and there, and they use that money towards their city and their county and helping them out. And that's something that every county could use, is a little more money in their coffers, right? So I would hope that you'd reconsider closing them down, because we really need them, and there's some really shady places to go, and that is a good one, and they're in the county, and I hope you reconsider. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council. My name is Ron Rocha. I'm a resident of Madera. I am also 100% disabled Vietnam vet. Excuse me, I'm in pain right now. I live with 100% chronic pain. Hold on a second. Forgive me. Anyway, I'm 100% disabled Vietnam vet. I was on Vicodin for 10 years through the VA system. I've transitioned from Vicodin from 10 years. I moved to morphine. They gave me morphine for another 2.5 years. I was on time-release morphine for 2.5 years and lost my life. I lost my life physically, emotionally, and it was unbearable with all the physical issues and the withdrawal issues that came with the medication that came through the VA. I did discover A1 also. I did become a member of the 22 Militia. It's a lifesaver for me. It's a meeting place to enjoy and my brothers to share my positions and my experiences. And it's a very necessary place for me and for my brothers. Without it, as you can see, I'm disabled. And so it's difficult for me to get around and difficult for me to trust, which makes it hard and for me to access. However, I will not go back to any kind of meds. I will not go on opiates again. This is the only relief I've had where I can maintain a daily function, a daily marriage, and a daily life. And I'd appreciate if you consider not only me, not only my other brothers, the ones that are yet to come. And I thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before proceeding to the consent calendar, I need to point out that on item 7D as in dog 2, on the fourth line down, it reads Road 38, and it should read Road 28. And that's on regular session, I'm sorry. On your consent calendar, item O, doc number 3574, Board of Directors Special Districts for CSA 22. Staff has requested that that item be pulled from the agenda at this time. That's all the corrections I have for consent calendar. Thank you.
Do any of my fellow supervisors have any questions on the consent calendar? And we'll take it out to the public. Any questions on the consent calendar?
Good morning. Rebecca Martinez, Clerk Recorder Registrar. I just wanted to draw attention to the board on a consent item that we have. I believe it's item G, and it has to do with our fees Wanted to make sure that the board was aware that there is a fee in there of $75 for the recording of certain documents. That is not money that goes to the county. That was a bill that was passed by the legislature and signed by the governor. It adds a $75 fee to a normal recording fee. So if you have a recording fee that's $15, it adds $75 to it for a total recording cost of $90. It is excessive, but we don't have any alternative but to collect the money. So if you get calls from your constituency, which you probably will, because it becomes effective January 1, it's part of the Affordable Housing Act, and so we will be imposing that January 1. That's it.
Good. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Excuse me,
I think we have another.
Supervisor Rogers, would that include pulling item O from consent?
Yes. We have a
Good morning, Board. I would like maybe we get a understanding with the welfare, with about the GA assistance, getting it approved for maybe people who have a felony. Because all I'm getting right now, because I just got out of custody, all I'm getting right now is 194 food stamps.
It's not on the consent calendar.
What item are you speaking about?
Just for the public.
Public comment was already done.
We're beyond that.
Oh, it's over with?
We're beyond that.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome to come another time and speak on public
Okay.
comment.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Okay.
7A, Sheriff Coroner's Department, Information Technology Systems Analyst for Sheriff's Department. 1, discussion and consideration to authorize the Human Resources Operations Division of County Administration to amend the position allocation resolution with org number 0400 as follows. A, reduce the allocation for senior program assistant by 1 position, and B, add an allocation for 1 information technology systems analyst 1 to senior position. 2, discussion and consideration of entering into a memorandum of understanding with the Information Technology Department outlining the role and responsibilities of the party.
Morning, Board. Jay Varney, Madera County Sheriff. The item before you this morning is to consider changing an allocation, and the idea behind it is there's probably more than twofold, but as you may or may not be aware, the Sheriff's Office is responsible for certain law enforcement-based communications, both on behalf of the county and all of the county departments that are involved, ourselves, probation, corrections, the DA's office, and those, as well as the other law enforcement providers within the county. As part of that, we've been working with IT for, well, over 2 years now on some compliance issues that existed prior to my election. However, in moving through this entire process, what we've determined is that because of the somewhat unique relationship of responsibilities that can't be delegated by the Sheriff's Office, that it would be most efficient for the county and for county IT for us to have our own IT person on staff. This isn't something that we've jumped right into. In fact, Tanya and I were talking about it this morning. We actually started this process a year ago. So we put a lot of thought into this. We feel that it serves both our individual agencies, but the county at large and the citizens in the most efficient manner in keeping things up to date. So if you have any questions, we'll do our best to try to answer those.
I'll move to approve.
Take it out to the public. Any questions from public?
Second.
Now we'll bring it back.
So moved. Seconded.
Yeah. Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
7B, Community Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration of approval to hire Kimberly Brooks at the D step of Personnel Analyst 1 effective December 1, 2017 and pursuant to Madera County Code Section 2.60.170.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any comments from the public? Now we'll bring it back.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez? Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you.
Well presented.
7C, County Administration Department, Human Resources Operations Division. Discussion and consideration to approve to hire Sabrina Mendez at the East Step of Personnel Technician 2, effective January 1, 2018, and pursuant to Madera County Code, Section 2.60.170.
Move to approve.
Second. Comment from the public? If not, we'll bring it back for action.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you, Ken.
7D, County Administration Department, General Services Division, County Jail HVAC Replacement. 1, discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution awarding and entering into an agreement with Strategic Mechanical, Inc. in the amount of $4,360,000 for the construction of the Madera County Jail HVAC replacement and overruling all bid protest. 2, discussion and consideration to adopt the resolution authorizing the County of Madera to enter into a lease and leaseback agreement as leasee with Cali's Public Funding Corporation as lessor with respect to certain real property and building located at 14191 Road 28, Madera, California, and authorize the board chairman or his designee to approve and execute such documents as needed to obtain lease financing in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $4,867,000 and at a nominal annual interest rate not to exceed 4.25% to finance the jail HVAC project.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Maritza Rodriguez, County Administration, Capital Projects. Built in the 1980s, the old jail HVAC system utilizes an out-of-date mechanical equipment that are original to the facility and that are beyond their useful life. In the 1980s, this 1980s pneumatic HVAC control system utilizes compressed air to communicate commands to the equipment. It's obsolete and does not communicate with the county's web-based digital allergen control system. The obsolete technology has made it difficult to procure parts and to locate technicians for repairs. On February 7, 2017, your board approved a contract for design services for the jail HVAC system. Staff has been working with the engineers and designing the new system since then. The proposed work will be the replacement of the existing HVAC system servicing the housing units and the central plant and the existing old jail that was originally built in the 1980s. The new air handler system in the upper level of the roof area of the housing unit will be connected to the existing central plant, which will be expanded with new cooling towers, chiller, boilers, storage tanks, and distribution system to address the increased HVAC loads of the existing jail. The existing pneumatic control system servicing the HVAC equipment will be replaced with a DDC control system, and the VAV terminal units in the administration building will also be replaced to upgrade the controls from the pneumatic to DDC. On November 16, 2017, bidding for the construction of the project closed. We received 3 bids. Strategic Mechanical was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder with the bid price of $4,360,000. On November 7, 2017, Marco Construction submitted a bid protest. County Council and General Services Division has reviewed the protest letter and determined it invalid. Staff recommends approval of the resolution approving the contract award to Strategic Mechanical and overruling all bid protests. So I'm going to pass it over to Sean so she can discuss the financing portion.
I have a quick question before we get to that. What's the square footage of the service area we're talking about?
The square footage?
Yeah.
We are talking, basically it's the entire, I don't have the numbers here, but it's the entire, all the housing units and housing unit A and M, C and D, and E through K, all of the mechanical systems in those units will be replaced in time.
Anybody know the square footage right offhand?
Right off the bat right now? I don't have that information, I'm sorry.
I think
or maybe Raymond.
90,000?
Yeah, it's pretty large. But it's going to impact about 2/3 or at least 2/3 of the square footage. So
This is going to bring all the, basically, I know you've been out there numerous times.
Yeah.
It's going to be all the cold.
Get closer to the mic, please. It'll probably be, it'll impact the old section of the jail. It'll bring that up to standards, and that's what you guys are achieving by doing this. It's a big move, and it's going to impact. We were hoping, for the winter months with heating air, the heating portion of it. But it is what it is. I mean, the county's doing an outstanding job. If we can get accomplish this before the summertime, where it gets real critical because the inmates that take psychotropical medication, it affects them accordingly. So it's a big task, but it's going to affect a large portion of the facility to bring it up.
Thanks for the square footage. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I do everything by square footage generally. So.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Supervisor Frazier?
Well, I got one more question, Max, on that. On the lease back, they take care of the maintenance of the system?
Well, this is the amount of money pretty much. Oh, sorry. This is Sean Kirkpatrick, County Administration. And to answer your question, this is just for the construction of it as well as the project management for it. So this is just for putting everything in place, bringing it up to code, and then all the related services directly involved in for design, building, for any remaining costs that there are for that.
What warranties are involved in that?
We have a 2-year warranty with this. Once the project is complete, we have a 2-year warranty, and there's some special warranties for the equipment themselves. Some of them are 20 years.
Some of it should be more like
20 years. So
Yeah.
for overall, the construction is 2, but each individual equipment piece has a different warranty period.
Okay.
With an old system the way it is, and I don't know if this is maybe for Sean, what were like our ongoing costs of operating the old system? How much will we see a savings in terms of, because this is a big number.
It's a pretty big amount, and I believe the main reason for it is really the bringing up to code, and it's just something that's been needed for a while. So it's not specifically a cost-saving measure, except that doing it now rather than when anything gets worse.
I was just going to mention there is some cost savings
involved
in replacing the old system with the new system. There's going to be some savings related to energy. I don't have those numbers, but there are some savings associated with that.
I think Joel has some.
Yeah, no, Supervisor. The other piece too is the risk of it costing more for breakage. So with the old system, it would be essentially, that's my understanding, is we've been lucky that we haven't had to rent units. And how much is the rental rate for the units?
We actually have had to rent a piece of equipment that broke. It was about $50,000, $40,000.
Okay.
So the way we're looking at it is we're avoiding the potential to pay $150,000 for a season of use of a rental equipment and having it brought out indefinitely. Yeah.
Wow. And so, you've got those, plus then you said the parts are hard to find, so they're probably expensive when you do find a part, if you can find it on eBay, probably.
He's been having issues finding parts and finding technicians to actually maintain the system because it's a very outdated system.
Okay.
Hi, Raymond Huerta with General Services. The system that we have out there works off of pneumatics, air, and it's hard. That system was great in the 70s and 80s, but now it's antiquated, and we got to get rid of it. It's hard to find technicians to work on it. You bring them on site and they'll look at it and say, "What's this?" So it's an outdated. The new section is in our new EMS controls, the Allerton, just like here in the government center. It's all digital. You could go on the screen and make adjustments. Like this meeting room was cold this morning, so I made some adjustments for my office to try to warm it up. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish out there at the facility. We have a central plant that could. The intention was to put everything on the central plant. So on phase 1, we put the central plant out there, and those chillers that are out there for E and F, C and D, A and B are almost 20 years old. So we're going to a new system. It's a turbo core, a chiller. It ramps up, ramps down. It's efficient. It's going to cost. It costs a lot, but it's going to save us some money in the long run.
Okay. Okay, and then the next one, probably Mike. So I would imagine, I know I get agitated when it's hot. I would imagine the inmates, do you see a spike in problems in terms of trying to justify maybe
aggressiveness by the inmates?
Aggression
Absolutely.
towards our staff and so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Operationally, we're going to see savings in utilities for us as well. Sometimes we'll do staffing. There should be some staffing issues. Sometimes if we have to, additional staff in there depending on how the inmates are behaving. But also we should see some cost savings in possibly during the hot season through some medical expenses as well, because if they deteriorate to the portion because of the heat, additional medical costs will be incurred as well. So there's going to be some, we're excited to see the operational savings as well in each one of those components. But just the savings in utilities with this upgraded system should show a tremendous savings, in my opinion, being out there for so many years that we see. So there will be some savings operationally as we see. Should be hopefully some medical savings there as well. And when we do that, we normally incur additional costs for running ice out there to the inmates and additional costs.
And you can't guarantee, but it's
right.
Safer.
Absolutely. It's going to promote safety and security for all, yes.
Thank you.
Supervisor Poitras.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I noticed in the report at the very end it said that there's this item had been previously budgeted, and I remember budgeting it when we were going through the 17-18 budget. So therefore, there's no net impact to the general fund. Well, yeah, but there's still an impact to the general fund. But the point I'm trying to make is that this is an example of why it's so important, that we take a look at our reserve position and we protect our reserve position and also look to increase our reserve position in our budget because of, as we go down the road, because of situations like this. Operationally, it makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad we're moving forward with this, but, there's other departments within the county that, who knows what issues may crop up. So just wanted to mention that, it's something we need to keep in mind as time goes on, and in addition to pension increases and things of that sort. Thank you.
CAO.
I think Supervisor Rogers is in the queue.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm having trouble wrapping my head around $54 a square foot. That's just a lot of money. When you look at the average for residential, it's about 3. For the average commercial, you can maybe quadruple that. I'm just having trouble in my mind. Are they replacing ducts? Are they doing?
They're replacing ducts. They're replacing the downstream ductwork. We're also adding a new cooling tower, which is very expensive. We're also adding boilers, chillers. We're demoing the existing equipment, the electrical portion. We have to bring electrical.
It is a lot larger system.
It is much larger than.
And I would think access for this ducting is going to be difficult.
It is very difficult.
I think and so they're probably going to be doing a little demo work on the structure to get that through the.
So the issue with the jail is because it's a secure facility. Access to the contractor is very difficult, and we work with DOC and providing access to the contractor, but they add an additional charge for not having that access.
Let me ask this:
it's basically with the other two projects that we've done.
Yeah,
it's basically changing the wheels on the train. while
Yeah.
he's moving down the track.
Right.
And, being in the business, anytime you're going to have additional costs with your workers, start
You gotta
time,
pass
finish
that on.
times,
Yeah.
And we're going to be, yes, that cost is going to be passed on to the county.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing a whole brand-new, basically, cooling system for a functioning facility while it's moving
still
down the
functioning,
track.
yeah.
So being in the
Sure,
business,
sure.
what that instills with your costs.
Sure.
One thing that I do want to mention regarding the difficulty of the work is that the mechanical rooms are on the second floor. That we have to create an opening on the second floor for them to actually remove the old equipment. All the demo work has to be on the second floor.
And it'll have to be craned out.
It has to be craned out, and so
You're looking at big bucks right there in and of itself. Last question. I appreciate you indulging me on this. I just have to ask these questions because this is a lot of money for an operation like that. But do we have any gauge, any previous work that's been done by contractors on a jail facility similar to this that gives us an idea of this? Is this a fair?
Yes, we do actually have numbers for the Phase 1 and Phase 2, square footage numbers, that we can compare to what we were.
And how did that?
It's approximately the same.
Okay.
It's about the same, yes.
Okay.
It's comparable.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to add that the original engineer's estimate was actually for more. So we were very happy with how low some of the bids were.
That's good to point out. Thank you for pointing that out.
Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe Raymond alluded to this, and I think Maritza can back this up, but we were able to avoid some costs that we may have had by the previous grant money that helped with the central plant. Right? They were able to build extra capacity there, or we were able to construct some things that we would have had to do now by capitalizing on state dollars when we expanded the jail.
During the AB 900 phase, we were able to make some provisions for expansion at the central plant to accommodate for this new additional loads.
So we knew it was coming and we planned ahead?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Did we look into any possible because of the energy savings with PG&E? Did we look into possible remunerations there?
As far as
maybe rebates or help with
Maritza, we did it at the time, as you recall.
Yes, we did, and there are some savings, like I mentioned. I don't have the numbers, but I can share those with you.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Thank you.
Sorry, this is just one last safety question. So I would assume that this firm has worked with jail facilities before and knows the security issues so that we're not showing tomorrow's escape today by showing where the ductwork is going.
I'm going to knock on wood for you.
We're not.
We've had site visits from the contractors when they were bidding on the sites, so we were able to explain to them what's to be expected from them, and I believe the RFP indicated in there what would be expected for them, how they're going to operate. We do have contingency plans in place if we have to adjust to accommodate the contractor. All of it hinges around safety and security. We won't compromise that. If we have to slow down to make sure that safety and security is intact, we've done that. We've done that for the last 2 projects, I think 3 projects that we've done. That'll always be a mainstay in anything that we do out there at the facility, so that the community can be ensured that we're going to be doing things safely and securely. So
the ducts aren't like to some standard.
You'll be amazed on how the ductwork is. At each one of the ductworks, as it goes to the housing unit, they have metal bars in them. They're not just regular household ducting.
They can't get out of them, or
they're built pretty substantial. Yeah,
they can't. They're not weight bearing for an inmate.
They're built. If you can get through them, they probably they're about the size of your pencil there, but there's bars in there, and there's other devices we have in place that I'd rather prefer not to discuss. But
I don't want to hear too much.
Okay.
And we also have some procedures as far as clearing the workers when they come on site. DOC clears them first before they are admitted to the facility.
Good. Okay.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Any comment from the public on this issue? If not, we'll bring it back for the board to move to approve.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent. 7E, County Administration Department, Risk Management and Legal Services Division, hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 2.18.060 and Chapter 2.18.200 of Title II of Madera County Code pertaining to purchasing agent authority and informal bidding procedures.
Good morning, Darren McCandless of the County Administrative Office, returning to your board, recommending adoption of a couple of amendments that were proposed for two ordinances that was introduced last week. And just to recap, these are ordinances that relate to purchasing agent agreements, authority of the purchasing agent, and informal bidding on certain public projects. The purpose of these two amendments, as you'll recall, is to align the limitations in the county code with the corresponding limitations in the statutory requirements for the government code and the public contract code. So the limit for purchasing agent agreements is recommended to increase from $10,000 to $50,000, and the limit for informal bidding is recommended to be increased from $75,000 to $175,000, and that is what is found in the statutory sections. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Supervisor Frazier?
I just want to reemphasize or ask again, there's still a checks and balances in place. This isn't just one person can make a decision of this magnitude.
Right. So for the purchasing agent process, again, these contracts will not come before your board, but they are subject to review and signature by county council, the auditor controller, county administrative officer, and the purchasing agent.
Good.
Okay. Supervisor Poitras?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just like a little bit of history as far as Madera County and, what our limits have been in terms of some of the bidding. When's the last time, when was it established that the bids, anything over $10,000 would have to be approved by the BOS?
Right. So I believe these original ordinances were adopted in 1992. And at the time of adoption, the limits for the county code and the limits in the government code section were the same. They were both $10,000. In the interim, that limit for the government code section has increased to $50,000, but the limitation in the county code section has remained at $10,000. So this county code, the government code section relates to counties with a population of less than 200,000. So there's about 26 counties throughout the state. County of Madera is one of 5 counties that still retains the $10,000 limit. Every other county has moved to the statutory limit of $50,000, or at the very least something beyond the $10,000.
And the same question for the informal bidding procedures.
Right, it's the same exact situation. $75,000 at the time the ordinance was adopted. Since that time in 1992, it has increased to $175,000, so we'd just be bringing the limit up to the statutory limitation.
I know that, just looking at it from a CIP standpoint, from 92 to today, 25 years, that's about right. In regards to inflation and things of that sort. In the other category, maybe not so much, but it still, makes sense. So thank you.
And I might add that the language in the proposed amendment will incorporate language to capture those subsequent increases. So it should automatically increase as the statutory limit increases.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions from the board? If not, we'll take it out to the public. Bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll move to adoption, so I'll move to adopt this.
I'll second.
Do we have a second?
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent. 7F, County Clerk Recorder and Registrar of Voters, new voting system. 1, discussion and consideration of approval of entering into an agreement with Dominion Voting Systems for the installation and use of new voting system and authorize the County Clerk Recorder to execute the managed services agreement. 2, discussion and consideration of approval of a receipt of unanticipated revenue number 17-051 in the amount of $160,000 derived from elections, state mandated cost, and state reimbursement election costs to be appropriated to special department expense for fiscal year 2017-18 for the initial payment of the managed service agreement with Dominion Voting Systems and other costs associated with the implementation of the Voters' Choice Act. 4 votes required. 3, discussion and consideration to authorize the County Clerk Recorder to sign all necessary documents to apply, accept, and receive voting modernization bond of 2002, funding for the acquisition of the new voting system and costs associated with the implementation of the Voters' Choice Act. 4, discussion and consideration to authorize the County Clerk Recorder to sign all necessary documents to apply, accept, and receive Help America Vote Act funding for the acquisition of the new voting system and costs associated with the implementation of the Voters' Choice Act.
Let's take this one after lunch.
I'm happy to follow the jail's request. I'm a drop in the bucket. Exactly. For the record, Rebecca Martinez, Clerk Recorder, Registrar of Voters. So it's not a secret that we've needed to purchase a new voting system for quite some time. The system that we use now is a system that I purchased in 1990. And the software that operates it is out of date and no longer gets any kind of updates to the software. It's antiquated. It has served our county very, very well for 27 years, but now it's time to move on with a more modernized equipment and technology. Because I was frugal in the first round of funding, which was in 2006 for voting systems, we still have money left to use to help us pay for equipment or to enter into an agreement for lease services. So with our Help America Vote Act funds, we have approximately $399,000 left in that account. And for the voting modernization bond fund, we have about $183,000. Now, we still have our kick-in share, I'm sure, but we still have a significant amount of money left to assist us, plus the fact that we have $160,000 now that we're going to want to be moved over to our special departmental expense. The system that we anticipate using, which is Dominion Voting Systems, I think is going to serve our county very, very well, because that system, and I think a couple of you demoed the equipment, were able to use the equipment, it mirrors what we use now, right? So we still have a paper ballot, we still are able to fill in the rectangle, but we still have a lot of automation that goes with it that'll make the voting experience easier, simpler, and I think more accessible to our voters. So if you have any other questions. And by the way, with me is my Chief Assistant, Justin White, who worked very, very hard with County Council on the contract for the management services, and also Cherie Knoll, who is with Dominion Voting Systems.
Just add my comments to what he said. I sampled the system and I thought it was exceptional. I'm sorry. I have to turn my mic on. I sampled the system and I thought it was exceptional. I think Supervisor Poitras was there the same day, and I thought it made voting easy and a lot less problematic, I think, as far as going to really take care of any potential efforts at fraud, and I think it's very, very good. And you always bring us the best options on these things. I appreciate it. Thank you.
The system provides maximum auditing capabilities, which is, what we were looking for, right? Because that's what makes people feel comfortable. And all we want to do is produce something that's safe, secure, and transparent. So.
Very good. We'll take it out to the public. Any comment from the public? And now we'll bring it back to the board.
Move to approve. 1 through 4.
Second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
7G, County Council Department. Discussion and consideration to approve an unconditional commitment response pursuant to Government Code Section 54960.2C1 to the cease and desist request received from the ACLU Northern California dated December 4, 2017.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Supervisors. Scott Cross, Deputy County Counsel here. I think you've all had an opportunity to read the staff report. I'm here for any questions you may have, or if you want me to run through just kind of a brief summary of...
Did you want to speak? No? Okay. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. I'll just briefly summarize kind of the process. It's a somewhat unique process. I'm not sure that, at least in my time with the county, we haven't done something similar. The Brown Act authorizes what's called a cease and desist process. So we received a letter from the ACLU on December 4th alleging a Brown Act violation had occurred in closed session on March 7th at the board's March 7th, 2017 meeting. The ACLU's letter is attached to the board letter, so you can see that, and that's part of the record. The alleged violation is, they allege that the board took a substantive policy action to direct the Madera County Department of Correction to respond to requests from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. The Brown Act authorizes, again, someone to submit a cease and desist request alleging a violation. It gives the board or the legislative body a 30-day period in which to respond to that request. The Brown Act lays out kind of the substance of a potential response. If you wish to respond and make an unconditional commitment not to commit the same alleged violation, you can do so. Again, that the response in the Brown Act does not include an admission that you committed a violation. And it basically says if you make that unconditional commitment, it can't be used against you to show that it was a violation. And it also prohibits the requesting party, in this case the ACLU, from going to court and seeking to get a court order that you had in fact committed a violation as they allege in their letter. Again, I think it's important to note that you're not admitting that even the alleged action took place, or their alleged challenge action took place. It's not an admission that it actually happened or that there was a violation. It's really just a procedure laid out in the Brown Act in which we can move on, say, look, if the board chooses to approve the unconditional commitment letter, you get the protections as laid out in the board letter. You get the protections that it's not deemed a violation, and they basically can't go to court and get a court order finding that you have committed a violation. So the draft response letter is in the board packet. We've prepared it in accordance with the provisions in the Brown Act. We think it complies with those provisions, and the recommendation is that you approve that today.
Rogers?
I make the motion that we approve this, having always complied with the Brown Act and intending to comply with it in the future.
Second.
Second. Take it out, get the money in the, yes, we do have it, gentlemen. We'll take it out to the public. We'll bring it back for a motion. We have a motion. Yeah.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Seven H, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Additional structure and rules, Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Advisory Committee. 1, discussion and consideration of appointing a chairman and vice chairman for the Groundwater Advisory Committee for the Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. 2, discussion and direction to set time and location for regular meetings of the Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. 3, discussion and consideration of approval to amend committee conduct rules for the Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency.
Hello, Julia.
Good morning, members of the board. Mike Linden, Deputy County Counsel. I believe Ms. Berry is here and should be here in a second to be able to present the matter.
Oh, here she is.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. Julia Berry, Director of the Water and Natural Resources Department. We're here today to present the first item for the Chowchilla Subbasin. The Chowchilla Subbasin Coordination Committee met last month and proposed a budget for writing the groundwater sustainability plan and for grant management in the subbasin. The total amount of funding would be $1.5 million. However, we are waiting for grant funding to come through from the state. At this time, the members of the Chowchilla Subbasin Committee recommend and also require that this board adopt a budget. Each of the members of the Subbasin Coordination Committee are required to adopt the budget. At this time, it's $1.5 million. However, if the grant funding is not adequate to cover that budget, the group understands that they'll come back and look at a new budget. So it's staff's recommendation that at this time you approve the $1.5 million budget with understanding that quite a bit of that comes back to the county in grant funding for administration.
I think that's 7K. Do you want to take 7K out of order since...
Additionally, we'd like to talk about the structure and rules for the Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Advisory Committee. I'm here with council today. This board is required to appoint both a chairman and a vice chairman for the Groundwater Advisory Committee. In your board packet, you have a list of the members of the advisory committee to choose from. In addition, we'd like to set a time and location for the regular meetings of the Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Advisory Committee and add some additional items to the conduct rules for the Madera County Chowchilla Subbasin Groundwater Advisory Committee.
So yeah, good morning, members of the board. Mike Linden, Deputy County Counsel. The first matter that we will discuss, or the first subbasin that we'll discuss today, will be the Chowchilla subbasin. And the first matter there will be that the chair and the vice chair for the Groundwater Advisory Committee. We have on page 3 of the board letter, we have the members of this committee as have been designated by your board. And so there are several persons here that would be appropriate, but it is your board's discretion to set a chair and a vice chair for the committees so they can get going next year with their meetings, which we will set as the next matter.
I move to approve items 1, 2, and 3 as 7H.
This is the second.
Okay, so we need to name the chairman and the vice chairman of the committee. So your choices are Jay Mahill, Ralph Pistoresi, Lois Lee Davidson, Joseph Moore, a representative from East Farms, Ben Pittman, Clay Dalton, Miguel Guerrero, or Kevin Herman and James Maxwell. It is staff's recommendation that you not appoint an alternate as a chairman or vice chair. The two alternates are Kevin Herman and James Maxwell. Staff would recommend that you appoint Jay Mahill as the chairman and Ralph Pistoresi as the vice chairman.
Nobody out there, but we'll just follow the rules. Anybody, any comment from the public? If not, we'll bring it back.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jay Mahill as the chairman and Ralph Pistoresi as the vice chair.
Second. Oh, wait, here, you want to?
Yeah, second.
Okay, we got first and second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent. 7I, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department, additional structure and rules, Madera County, Madera Subbasin Groundwater Advisory Committee. Discussion and consideration of appointing a chairman and vice chairman of the Groundwater Advisory Committee for the Madera County, Madera Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. 2, discussion and direction to set time and location for regular meetings of the Madera County, Madera Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. 3, discussion and consideration of approval to amend the committee conduct rules for the Madera County, Madera Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency.
So same thing, what are the recommendations for chair and vice?
I would recommend Kevin Herman as the chairman, and I would recommend Devin Aviles as the vice chair.
Who on vice?
Devin.
Devin Aviles with the wine group.
I move to approve with those recommendations, 1 through 3.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Do we
Supervisor.
need the time and place, the time and location for the meeting? Do we need the time and location for the meeting?
Well, we're going to go back and do that. Yeah, we
Okay.
do, actually.
Wouldn't that be better for,
Staff to establish that.
yeah, for the people who are going to be attending the meetings?
I think so,
I think
too.
that's good direction.
Yeah.
Well, staff recommendation would be that they are quarterly to begin with, and that the committee itself may call additional meetings if they need to, or they can be called by this body.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent. 7J, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency and Natural Resources Department. 1, discussion and consideration of appointing a chairman and vice chairman for the Groundwater Advisory Committee for the Madera County Delta Mendota Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. 2, discussion and direction to set time and location for regular meetings of the Madera County Delta Mendota Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. 3, discussion and consideration of approval to amend committee conduct rules for the Madera County Delta Mendota Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency.
So staff recommends at this time that the chairman of the Delta Mendota Advisory Committee be Jared Samarin, and that the vice chair be Javier Marquez. We also recommend that these meetings also meet quarterly, and that there's an ability for the committee and the board of the Groundwater Sustainability Agency to call meetings as needed.
So moved with staff recommendation.
Second. Yeah, first and second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent. 7K, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agency, Water and Natural Resources Department. Discussion and consideration of approval of $1,500,000 for the development of a groundwater sustainability plan for the Chowchilla Subbasin.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any comment from the public? If not, we'll bring it back. We have first and second.
Call for the vote. Supervisor Rogers?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vote passes 4-0, one absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8, pending legislation. Discuss, support, or oppose legislation presented by supervisors and/or staff.
None?
Number 9, supervisors and staff report.
I have nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
I spent another 6 hours on the river. You passed it.
Thank you for your service.
That was,
How did you vote? No answer. None? Okay. I don't think we have anything for closed session, do we, Attica?
No, Chairman, no more items for closed session.
So, we'll adjourn. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Is it Christmas Day?